As Madeline Sammy, the new host, descended on the gravesite of previous host Paul Henry, I wondered what this new season had in store for us. After a brief break, the Traitors New Zealand was back, and Season 3 sees 21 contestants vying to win up to $100,000. I always found the New Zealand seasons to be steady and enjoyable, with Season 2 being my favourite out of the two previous ones. With a fresh new host but a familiar location, I was interested to see how Season 3 would fare and how Madeline would slot into the world of the Traitors. It didn't take long before we had our first light, as Jill immediately started to play down her knowledge of the game to those she was in the car with. The same car of people also agreed to an early alliance, though I'm not sure if they will carry that on beyond the first day, or if any of them will remember the conversation. The game well and truly started before they even got to see the decor in the manor. All the cars were stopped at the gates by two masked people, while a distorted voice played over the speakers. Each car had to choose a player to step outside of the car. It's never a good thing when you have an early task like this, so you couldn't blame anyone from being hesitant to volunteer. As someone who hates the early temporary exit, I was really hoping this wasn't the outcome of this early task. Partially because that twist feels so Season 1, and the Traitors has evolved and should have moved on from this. Using different ways to come to a decision, Elliot, Hannah, Jemena, Michael, Rachel and Ryan were the ones that got out of their respective cars. One of the 6 was going to leave the game immediately, and the chosen person would receive $5,000. The decision was made with a good old game of rock, paper, scissors. Michael ended up being the unlucky player and had to leave immediately. Michael was so gutted that he didn't even have his seatbelt on before he started to drive off. History was telling me this wasn't the last we would see of Michael. Hopefully for him that would be the case, because he just wanted to play the game. The rest of the players entered through the gates, and as they exited the cars, they were met with Madeline standing outside with a table that contained boxes with their names on it. Each player had a personalised gift box, and I wondered if one or more would find out they were picked as a traitor. I wasn't far off. One box had the traitor's mark, which gave that player the power to become a traitor or turn it down before the end of the night. I'm surprised production didn't go down the route of having the boxes picked randomly instead of pre-assigning the marked box to a particular person. As the person had the choice to refuse, then it wouldn't be too much of an issue. Now the question was, who did get the marked box? Samantha said she didn't want to make that decision this early in the game and that it was too much pressure. I couldn't understand why she was saying it was too early in her commentary, as whoever had the mark had until midnight. It was hours before the actual traitor picks, so surely you have some idea if you want the role before you even got past the gates. A decision would need to be made whether you got the box or you were tapped by Madeline later in the same day. Was she thinking about a decision that may come later down the line in the form of a blackmail seduction, or an opportunity that may not come at all? At the beginning, when in her initial voiceover Madeline said 21 strangers, I rolled my eyes and said, yeah, sure. The UK insists in having at least one pre-existing relationship every season, when they don't have the excuse that New Zealand has in terms of population and application numbers. With New Zealand, it almost feels inevitable that there would be a pre-existing relationship compared to the UK, which forces the issue onto everyone every single year. If it isn't evident in my tone, or you haven't seen any of my UK related videos, then please note I'm not a fan of the UK's insistent need to constantly have a pre-existing relationship in the game. With the UK, it's no longer a surprise. In the recent season, the viewers found out before the reveal, and they've turned into a non-plus event during the actual game. In this, it was revealed that Keanu and Samantha know each other from high school and university, but haven't seen each other in years. This was something they were going to keep to themselves for a while. Will this end up coming back to bite them? Only time will tell. With them, Jill and Bradley keeping to himself that he's a youth pastor, we already had a small handful of people withholding the truth before any traitors had even been confirmed. When they were given the boxes, the first person I suspected would have it was Jill, so I was surprised and not at the same time when she got the touch on her shoulder. It just felt inevitable that Jill would be a traitor pick one way or another. I thought 3 would be chosen at the round table, while the one with the traitor mark could potentially make it 4. It was only Keanu and Jill that were chosen at the round table. A light and funny moment was when Madeline told them they can all now drink their water after the traitor picks were done. So many players have been accused of being traitors because they had a drink after the traitor picks, so that took away opportunities to make flimsy cases of suspicions from the off, though it still didn't stop some people. They were already accusing people of not wanting to be picked, blinking, and staring at people intensely. It sounded like there might end up being a handful of faithfuls that would be banished before a traitor was. Offerings and sacrifice was the aim of this mission. The players had to carry a palanquin along a path and collect as many offerings as possible and return them to the base of the statue Madeline was standing on. Up to $12,000 could be won in this mission, and those that returned would win a shield. At each post they needed to leave a certain amount of players in order to pick up the offerings. These type of missions are always a disadvantage for a lot of women and men of a smaller build. They were able to return within the 30 minutes allotted with the $12,000 worth of offerings. Aaron, Aroa, Dave, Harrison, Janaya, Keanu and Violet each won a shield. I thought the cliffhanger would be the decision of the third player not being revealed, but instead we know they accepted, but we don't know who it is. I feel like there's a couple of red herrings shown. Add that to my inability to get their names right, I'm sure I've probably got the ones I think muddled up with each other. I knew I was doomed when I thought Aaron was Harrison. It might take a couple of episodes for my brain to lock in. My initial thoughts on the other traitor was Aaron, Harrison or Ryan, but Ryan feels like one of the red herrings. I'm fully prepared to be wrong about all 3. While I think it's a bit too early to get a reading on how I think each traitor will fare, I will say the following. Jill can't keep up this game plan of hers throughout the whole season in trying to play down her intelligence and knowledge of the game. Someone always figures it out, or she will trip up. I don't see Keanu and Jill at the end together, but I'm not willing to say now if I think either of them will win. I need to see how the next couple of episodes go down. As Keanu hasn't come clean about knowing Samantha, there's no point in revealing that information, as it will instantly make the others distrust both of them. I do wonder if given the chance to recruit or blackmail, if Keanu would try to get Samantha on board. Many have done so in other versions, but it doesn't always have the desired effect. This was a relatively solid first episode. I don't think I got a good reading on what kind of host Madeline will end up being. The first roundtable and breakfast should make things a bit clearer. A lot of people that know of Madeline were excited at the choice, so let's see if their excitement is justified, and let's see if season 3 can outdo season 1 and season 2.